I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but yes, we can both hear each other. Wonderful.
Awesome. Good to see you, man. How's it going?
You as well. Doing okay. I just scarfed down some pizza and Pepsi, so hopefully that won't start crushing me in like 25 minutes. But it was delicious.
Oh, nice. Nice. Man, Pepsi.
Yeah. How's your night or afternoon been?
It's been good.
Oh
Just
fuck.
up.
We're already starting with the lags. My fucking internet.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. Today was good. Just have did a bunch of work
You're
on this.
fine.
What's that? We having some lags?
I said it was lags before, but now it seems to be better.
Okay, cool. Anyway, worked on some Mystic Journey stuff today. Just putting together this highlight promotional video that's going to go on their website, and did a few other little things for Uncle Bruce because we're going to be launching the website very soon, hopefully. And
That's
yeah,
exciting.
things are going good, going good. How was your day?
It was fine. We just had another bunch of cut down in our yard, so that's kind of fucked up. We've had like 15 or 20 cut down in my parents' yard since I moved back. So
What does that
it's
mean?
really
Like
changing.
trees getting cut down?
Yeah, there were ash trees and they had like ash borer disease or whatever. So they were all diseased and dead. So they had to get cut down
Oh,
before they fell. So
bummer.
yeah, so the whole yard has changed vibes. It's kind of really sad actually, but
Yeah, man, that's well, you got to plant some new trees.
yeah. I planted some this summer and some bushes, so we're gonna have to plant some more in the spring when we see how everything fills out or doesn't fill out. But
Were they some older trees
besides
that had
that,
been there for a
everything.
while?
I mean, not really. I think they were just diseased, and they were all the
Okay.
same type, so they all got it. There are some that can be saved. So there's like some trees that they're like treating,
Mm-hmm.
but they've already cut down a lot, and it really it is kind of sad. So, but yeah, besides that, everything's good. not
Nice.
uh, not a whole lot going on. So
Yeah. No no flying aircraft carriers or directed energy weapons or like weird 5G interference in the
no,
backyard.
no, nothing. No, yeah, I don't think the 5G was responsible for the death of the trees,
Well, I mean,
unfortunately. So
you can't be
nope, no.
you can't be sure. You never really can be sure, so we have to leave it on the table.
That's true. It's true. I don't want to rule anything out, no matter how extreme it is. But yeah, first days of the new administration seem to be okay so far, I guess. So I don't really feel that different. I always remember when we were in the House and Obama got elected, and that how that felt, even though we weren't like in the politics at that time, but it just felt like good. This didn't really feel that exciting. It was just kind of like, all right, I guess it's better than being the bottom of the barrel now. So
Yeah,
here we
yeah,
go.
yeah. It's nice, like the inaugural speeches with the poet. That was really cool, and also the Reverend guy.
Hmm.
Just hearing their message just made me very happy just to hear. That was probably the only thing I really felt was just like, okay, we're entering into another era now where we don't, where we can actually have intelligent people talking to us like we're intelligent.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's speech was, pretty empty and platitude rich, so wasn't really
Yep.
wasn't a huge deal like hearing his thing. But yeah, just like to think about it, man. I was talking about it with Mayor last night. How many millions of people were staring at that TV screen, anticipating some crazy shit to happen. Like, so many people are watching that. Like, okay, here it is, here it is. Like waiting for the riots or waiting for the flying aircraft carriers and the lasers and freaking explosions, whatever. Just to think, and then nothing happened. It was like, huh. So I think that's pretty interesting. It's how like Trump said that one time when he was in the White House or something and had all those people for the photo opportunity, said, all right, guys, it's the calm before the storm.
I'm having lag issues again.
Ah, bummer. Yeah, I'm seeing it looks like your internet connection's not.
My goddamn internet. Yeah, I can. Your image is frozen and your audio is cutting in and out.
Ah, bummer. All right, well,
God
let me
damn
know when it
it.
comes back.
I need.
All right, well, we're awaiting the technical difficulties to smooth out here on the interwebs. Praying to the all powerful Odin to get the internet working good. Throw a little Thor in there. How are we doing now? Still a
Can
little frozen.
hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, it looks fine now. Oh, okay. It just says your network bandwidth is low.
You're. God damn it. Well, I can see you and hear you now. Fine.
Okay. We got to get you one of those extenders, man.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
It'll be good in general.
It doesn't help that the internet here yeah, right. The internet here in general isn't very good. In the house, we've had issues all over the place, so it's not a good starting point. And then being as far away from the Wi-Fi box or whatever doesn't help either.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, you were saying people were expecting
expecting
madness.
All hell to break loose. Just think about how many millions of people were staring with the intention and the curiosity, almost like Tenet, like you're driving backwards down a road expecting a freaking car accident to happen, but it never happened. And that how Trump was saying in that room when he first became president, somewhere in there, how he said, hey guys, it's kind of like the calm before the storm. And they're all like, Mr. President, what does that mean? And he's like, oh, you'll see. And that signals all the QAnon people and the David Wilcox of the world that like, oh, the storm is coming and it's going to be the mass arrests and all that, which didn't happen. Or maybe it did. And
Trump actually said that.
Yeah, there's footage of him saying that a while ago. I'm not sure when. It was earlier on in his presidency, but it was a very cryptic thing.
Okay.
Said that like all the QAnon people jumped on immediately, and they were like, "Oh, okay, well that's just 5D chess and Q and Jesus is coming, and thank the Lord, God be glorious." Yeah, so now with the last resort of people on conspiracy sites, the ones that have not been taken down, which I'm a little I don't feel too great about, but at the same time I get it. Is now they're saying that Joe Biden didn't actually get inaugurated, that was a lookalike, a body double with Joe Biden's face surgically added to his. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, they're gonna keep they've invested so much in this storyline that they have to keep. There's no way they can just kind of stop. So with the ego, they can't just be like, oh, I guess that. Even though I have seen online like a lot of people, some people being like, wait, so we just got conned. Wait, so I just like everybody. I believe lies. Some people are kind of coming around to it, but there are probably most of those kind of people are probably just, as they say, keep moving the goalposts and changing the narrative and say, well, no, this is just part of the plan. This is just part of the plan. He's got a new fucking face. Like if they're saying this kind of stuff, they're not going to change. It's kind of, it's like a psychological disorder at this point, and there's nothing. You can't convince them of a reality because they don't. They've created this reality and they want to stay in it. So they're just going to keep making up stuff or finding stuff to believe.
Yeah, it's classic cult textbook cult-like behavior. When you're so deep into it at that point, even when things start coming out that are contradictory to the very things that got you involved in the first place, if you're deep in enough, then you'll have to rationalize it. The Scientology one's a perfect example where you, by the time you get to that level where they bring out the Xenu documents and tell you that, like, you know, you're actually a combination of all these demon Thetan spirits that have latched onto your soul and from the galactic wars with Xenu and blah blah blah. It's like some people will get to that point and they're like, okay, this, it's like I made it this far. Why would they be lying to me now? And then some people will like hear that and be like, this is absolute bullshit, but they can't say anything because if they do, then you know the
Right.
authorities of the church or whatever are going to come down on them. And that's kind of like you know, these Republicans at the end of the insurrection were still doubling down on the idea that Antifa was the one that was causing the riots. It's like, and it's clear as day that there's no evidence. It's like, oh well, if we turn our backs on Trump, then we're fucked. So they're just like doubling down. It's crazy, and it's not just the
Right.
Republicans. I mean, I mean, we've ping ponged back and forth between the cult of Obama and the cult of Trump, and now essentially back to the cult of Obama. Um, and that's the
Right.
whole idea that, like, you know, one small incremental changes are the way to go about making changes. And it's like, no, that's trying the same thing over and over again. um yeah, but I think the honestly the best headline from yesterday was Bernie and the memes that have been circulating about Bernie. You've
Well,
seen a lot of it's amazing.
so many good ones already. Yeah.
Yeah, like he totally won. Like that was the winning moment, I think. And especially since he is now the
Yeah.
chair
I
of
think
the budget committee. So yeah,
right. Yeah.
he's
Hopefully this will be the perfect spot for him instead of, you know, maybe he was never meant to be a president. He
yeah,
was just
like
kind
he's
of meant to be in there to kind of get people excited about stuff, and then you could put him in a, because you know the president can only do so much. You know, he's so constrained, and owes this person, owes that company, owes that branch. You know, maybe he's in a better spot right now where he can actually do stuff. But I love the first meme that I saw was like Bernie looks like the inauguration is only like part of his day. Like he's got a bunch of shit to do afterwards. Like it's not even important. He's just got to like, it's got to, all right, I got to run by the inauguration. And then after that, I got to do a bunch of shit, you know.
yeah.
He just seemed like he's like ready to fucking work. It just made so much sense.
Yep.
It's like, all right, guys, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get over this, and then let's get fucking to work. Like enough of the grandstanding.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully he, you know, he lights a fire under their ass,
Yeah.
because he's one of the people who is more about being active, obviously, and not just the old adages, like you were saying, like small incremental steps, and we need to do this in order to do that. It's like you've proven that we don't need to do that bullshit. Like you said, it's you're telling us the same story over and over. Like, oh, we can't do that. We have to compromise and we have to do this. It's like, no, we don't. We've seen over the last 4 years that you can just do shit,
Yeah.
and you don't need all this other red tape. You don't need to give $1 billion to that company. You don't need to give all this to that. We don't need to say it's a 20-year plan. We can do this shit literally right now. Like he, you know, Biden can literally cancel all student loan debt right now. Like right now, not in a 2-year process. Like, so we've been sold all these tales, but I think now the Republicans kind of showed us that nope, you can do whatever the fuck you want, and you can do it as quick as you want. So step to it.
Yeah. And the progressives in the Democratic Party, that's what they ran on, like the Squad and AOC. They ran on the idea that, well, it's not about our careers. We are here. If I'm a one-term politician, fine, but we got to light the fire under these asses. We can't just
Mm-hmm.
let these things slide. We need to make big changes now, and it's going to take some time for that to really kick in. And the thing is, it's like we have a window of time here, I believe, to to really make those changes, because oftentimes the Democratic Party fails when they come in promising hope and change and yes we can and all this shit, and then it's like, all right, well, we got to be pragmatic and blah blah blah, and it's like, all right, well, you came in on these promises, and then the American people are like, all right, fuck you, we're gonna vote in all these crazy Republicans now. It's like, again, it's just back to these
Right.
terrible options. And I'm really curious to see what's going to happen to Trump, really, because this is the moment of reckoning. David Wilcock even saying so many times in the last two uh live streams that he did, which was hilarious, because David Wilcock, filmmaker, releases the video. He can't even get the thing in sync, and he's running into all these problems, and it's like, I don't know what's happening, and he take it down, re-uploaded it 3 times. It's like, dude, you're a filmmaker, you really don't, you're not acting like one. What's going on here? Why are you making your wife do all this shit if you're the filmmaker?
I know. What the fuck?
Yeah, like, oh god. So even
Yeah.
he says this was the moment, this is where it's going to happen, because it's now or never, and he's been saying this for a long time, but he really backed himself into a corner big time with this. And we're frozen. Oh,
He did. Yeah. And
Yeah.
can you
Yep.
Are we back
good.
on track?
Yep.
God damn it, we gotta fix this. This is really annoying. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
But yeah, I was reading some like replies to his last tweets, David Wilcock's tweets, just to see if, and then the YouTube comments on his video, just to see how many people are like blind faithfuls, like, oh my God, you're doing God's work. And I watched your video 3 times, David. Thank you so much. There's most of it is that, but then there's people, as I mentioned, I read other replies to tweets that were just kind of like, dude, I've been with you for 10 years following you and, excited to hear you talk and reading your articles, but this just doesn't seem right. Like that you're so, yeah, he's tied himself to QAnon. He's tied himself to Trump. He's tied himself to this movement of like, which just seems so against everything that he's been talking about. And there's a fair, and then one person was like, you most likely you were targeted to spread this information to these types of people because he has a big fan base for that type of material. And this guy's like, yeah, you're most likely targeted, and it's pretty obvious that it was because of your ego, and you were probably very easy to manipulate, because all the people had to do was the inside Q people be like, all right, since you have such a great viewership and everybody loves you and you're a great filmmaker and
your hair is wonderful and your shiny jacket.
Oh my gosh. Everything. You have the great setup. You have a beautiful wife who does all this stuff. And David's like, yeah, you're right. So he's like, we're going to give you secret information and you have to distribute it. But okay, you can't tell everybody everything, but since everybody loves you and you're such a, the word of the people. And I'm sure literally 5 minutes of that, he's like sold, Sold.
Yeah. And he went on a big tirade when the Gaia TV thing went down. I don't know if you actually read the whole resignation letter, which is just hilarious because he goes on.
I think I did back before, but not recently.
Yeah. So he goes on this whole thing about how he won't be bought and he won't be sold. And this, like he has like, I think he said something like what Trump said, same kind of attitude, that he has an impeccable bullshit detector and that he's got the highest like super genius IQ and a photographic memory. But you listen, he said these things and then you listen to his videos and he's saying facts and be like, it was on a Wednesday, or wait, no, it was a Tuesday. I don't remember. It's like, wait, you just said you have a photographic memory and an IQ. You remember everything. Why don't you remember those things? It's like, you didn't have to say all that.
There's so many little moments like that in his videos. And one of the comments on the YouTube video is like, whoa, you really like talking about yourself. You just talked about yourself for 3 hours. And that was like all the comments said. And then the little part that I did see of the most recent video, he was like, and then my book, which you can see I placed in the background, not so subtly, ha ha ha, everything's strategic. And then his wife in the background goes, I put that there. And he goes, oh yeah, she put that there. But so you're taking credit for that? That's like, I was like, what is going on here? So you didn't remember that you put the book there, or you knew your wife put it there and then you were taking credit for it. And then she called. I love that too, that it's so disorganized that she just starts talking in the background. You can't hear, and she'll like contradict him, or she'll just make him, it just makes it sound so, it adds to the unprofessional like quality of the video. And then he's like at this point, don't you think it would have been smart to have signals to be like camera 1, camera 2, camera 3? Like just him doing something on his foot, something subtle, but he's always like, all right, now I'm going to decide we're going to go to this camera now. Okay, bring on this camera. Camera. It's like he's letting us know that he's in control and he's dominating. Oh, how do I look? Oh, look at my face. Oh, I look great from the look at my hair, like, and then whatever that silly picture is of him with the sad face and the glasses he was doing. I don't even know what he was doing in that moment, but I think he was like making fun of, he was like, oh, look at me with these glasses. Yeah. So it's just like all that stuff it's just so obvious that he's just so full of himself. It's too bad. It's really too bad. But
it is.
And I wouldn't put it past him though. I'm hoping deep down that in the coming months, he'll actually be able to maybe be like, admit that maybe he got, however he's going to put it. I just really hope that he doesn't recommit like these people now who are like, it was a face off, or like, I just really hope he is conscious enough. Otherwise he's gone. He's gone for good. He's forever compromised. And that's just how it is now. So I don't really know what's going to happen, but I mean, when you go this out on a limb and then there's no popcorn day, as he kept calling it, like
popcorn days. Oh my God, get your popcorn out and like look at the codes and the numbers and the time code and that honestly flashed back to when we found David Wilcock. That was one of the things I think we both resonated with, is how he talked about synchronicities and his experience at that up to that point of being able to read the signs, understand the signs, and that the signs are meant to guide you places, and that if you can get into like a meditative state, as he writes about, I'm sure in that book Awakening in the Dream, his like instruction manual on how to like interpret your dreams and all that stuff, like there's truth to that. But then at the same time, it's like you're acting on the principle that it's like the way he describes it, it's like his dreams are all prophecies. He never seems to acknowledge or give credit to like the power of the subconscious mind, that sometimes you're seeing stuff in your dreams because that's what's happening in the background of your thoughts. It's like, I talked to a guy who was some like astral projection of an insider talking to him. Like, couldn't that just been a aspect of himself talking to himself? Like, like to take that high, like holier than thou. I am George Clooney from The Men Who Stare at Goats. Like it's just
right.
It's like, here, I had this dream which verifies all this stuff. It's like, no, you can't have a dream be the verification, the proof of what it is that you're talking about. It's just like, it could be anecdotal and it could be like an indicator that maybe you're on the right path. Right. Like I would go as far as to say that, but he talks about his dreams as if it's like, the Q drops. Like, it's like, this is the latest intel. Like, no, it's a dream you had, dude.
Right. Yeah. I was flashing forward in his hour at least, or 45 minutes was him just slides of his dreams, I think. And he was saying it, like you said, like it was some big information drop from the biggest insiders. Like, look at this one here. Look what it says. Rainbows, popcorn. Look at that. Look at that. That was at 6:30 in the morning last Tuesday. And I woke up and I just knew it. Some fucking alien talking to me. It's like, no, like, you're right. That's literally, you can't just, but that's kind of another promotion that he feels like the ego, like, it is me. I am the source. I am the cult leader. Like, my word is God to some of these people. So he doesn't have to justify or even say that kind of like disclaimer. By the way, these are just my dreams. If you're just following along the way he says it, it makes it seem like it is official. He got this from the deep state itself, or the insiders themselves, or the white hats, or
Right.
whatever. So yeah, but it made me think we should. I don't know if there are any spoof videos out there, but we should do a David Wilcock spoof when we get out there. I really liked your interpretation of his and the M went to the C, and the C flew up here. I won't say that word. And then the TR people, they left. Oh, I can't say people. And then the TR beings went to
A blankety
Arby's.
blank.
Oh, I can't say Arby's. What the fuck are you?
It's like, dude,
It's like you're that special.
yeah, I can totally understand doing that for certain words, like Q, to promote Q, which is not what we're doing here. If there's an algorithm that's going to read this, oh, they're talking about Q, we can't, we got to put a notification or a disclaimer, which they're definitely doing now. Like even this guy CW Chanter that I've been listening to for the last couple of years, who I recommend you start getting into there. And he's the guy that a lawyer that has been critical of David Wilcock. And the thing is he's been deep into the conspiracy stuff for many, many years, esoteric stuff. He's much more skeptical. I don't always agree with like everything that he's saying or the sentiment of what he's saying, but at the same time, it's a good palate cleanser of the last phase of life, listening to David Wilcock and these kinds of people, where we take it in and it's just like, no, and you start thinking about it. And he's like using the code words, but not on every word. Like David was using code words on things that were so trivial and mundane, like the word, like the word people, P. Like, why are you putting people in code? Are you what? It's hard to like sit here, and then he's got these long paragraphs that he's reading like that. Like, dude, what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. What are we doing here? So, but we should definitely. He's so easy to spoof, and I think we could easily spoof him and have a fun little like minute-long video of all the David Wilcock cliches or something like that, without being mean about it, but just kind of like poking fun at him.
Yeah. But we might get sued. Like that's CW Chanter got sued by Corey Good for he was like legitimately talking shit about him.
Well, maybe we could just be like, oh, DW, we're not making fun of anybody. We're talking about Darkwing Duck, dude. Darkwing Duck, not anybody else.
Yeah, dude. It's dark. We're talking about Darkwing Duck. We titled the video Darkwing Duck, and it's just all about DW. Have the theme song, and it's like, I think I texted you too. It'd be funny if we had like a video or a little movie about some guy in the future that's the reincarnation of David Wilcock.
Right. Yeah.
Because that was another one thing that I remember back in 2008 when we went and saw him, and then I went back. Maybe it was that time or another time that I saw him around then. That he was talking about Atlantis and the history of Ra and Ra-Ta and Edgar Casey, that Edgar Casey in his readings said he was the reincarnation of the ancient priest Ra-Ta from Atlantis, and Ra-Ta is the father of humanity. And David tells this story, and after he did the whole I'm the reincarnation of Edgar Casey, and he goes, well, long story short, I'm your daddy. It's like, I remember it got all laugh because it was kind of goofy because he is. But thinking about it now, it's like this is what this guy believes. He believes that he is an exalted Atlantean priest or something who's here to not just wake people up, but to like give people the news. And it's like, dude, this guy, when he started pivoting into much more into the deep state conspiracy stuff, like when he was on when he called on Coast to Coast crying, and not to make fun of him for crying, he obviously felt threatened, but it was also very weird. I just got a weird vibe from him. Like, oh my God, like, why is he so, I thought he was a warrior. Like, why is he crying like that? Yeah. Oh my God, like, poor guy. But at the same time, it's clear that I really do believe that QAnon is a psyop, that it was a psyop created by some intelligence agency to wrangle in all of the conspiracy people, all of the evangelical Christian people, the Republican Party with Trump as the leader, to put them all, like to corral them all into one group, and then have this event where nothing happens. You know, like they're all like, because the conspiracy was that the mass arrest and all this stuff. So everyone's watching, waiting for it to happen, and it doesn't happen. And it's like, it just immediately discredits all that stuff. So, and
Exactly.
it's like,
Exactly.
and the thing is too, like it's easy to say, oh, well, it was all bullshit. None of it was real. And I think that's also misguided as well, because there is a lot of truth to this stuff, but it's just again, I've said this before, it's not the plot points that are in question. Like these things, Jeffrey Epstein, real, you know, all of these things are real, but the connecting of the dots and the stringing of the narrative, that's where it all falls apart. So it's like a
Right.
double entendre. On one side, you get to discredit everything, and then on the other side, you get to squash any sort of and muddy the waters of any sort of intelligent conversation about the real issues involved.
Right. Like if anybody says, like, I don't think you and I ever referred to it as the deep state, like consistently. We would use David's word of the cabal or the Illuminati or like whatever the force is in the background, you know, whoever the man behind the curtain is, you know, like we would, because that's still a real thing. Like the CIA is still a fucking has rogue factions that go and start wars. Like everybody knows that kind of shit. So it's like that still exists, but now if it wasn't hard enough to talk about it before, now it's like, oh, you're one of those fucking Q people, and then it's over, right?
Yep.
As soon as someone says that to you, there you have lost all your credit or credibility. You can't say anything else, and then there's really no point to even be like, no, I'm not part of that, but they were just misled completely. It was based on a real thing. 9/11 was an inside job. They killed JFK. Like all of these things are still things that happened, and there's still factions that exist. But now it's completely off the radar, and now we would immediately get thrown in with Trumpsters,
Yep.
QAnon people, and as if there was no credibility to 9/11 truthers before, or anybody believes in conspiracy theories. Now it's like you're looked at like mentally. I mean, even more so than before.
Dangerous.
So it was a very yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Like we honestly, we're both worried about the censorship at this point. Of course, we don't want, as we talked about before, like it's bad to give bad ideas a big voice, but it's not quite the same as as just silencing people for saying what they believe. But fuck, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, it's not
Are
like
you
it
in an
was.
atrium?
What's that? Oh, you can hear the
Are you
birds?
in? Yeah.
Yeah, it's my Google
Okay.
background
Yeah. Yeah.
noise.
I think I've asked before.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no. Oh yeah, so it wouldn't. I got back. I found the train. Like being labeled a Q now might be like the scarlet letter. Like shit, now they're arresting everybody who has any affiliation with the Capitol riot, and it's like if you're labeled as a Q person, like are they going to start rounding up Q people? If it continues to be violent or it continues to be whatever. So like even if we're just having a casual conversation about other conspiracy theories we believe in, or like the people behind the scenes that are pulling the strings, are they just going to lay us, portray us as Q people and then slap that on us and then have, that's maybe another code word for terrorist. And now they can tap your phone if they aren't already.
Right.
They could tap you everything. They can bug your car. So like, who knows where this is going to lead? Like we know there's a million avenues to go. And we know we don't want people to riot and kill people, but we also know that there's something going on behind the scenes still. Like this doesn't just negate all of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Like we know shit is still shady and corrupt. Everybody would agree that it's corrupt, but to what level, I think, is where people start to disagree. So there's more after these last 4 years. There's more people who believe in conspiracy theories than ever before. So where are they going to go, and what are they going to where's that going to take the country? We can't just ignore a bunch of people who are like, something doesn't feel right here. Yes, all these people got duped, but it's because they felt that there was something else going on behind the scenes. They were just heavily misled, and you and I'm sure have been misled and will continue to be misled on some levels, but we've kind of evolved our perspectives and we've grown. We're in our 30s now. We've experienced more. We've seen how the world works. Um, but it could be a slippery slope where we go from here as far as people who don't just, you know, think that everything's just fine and dandy, you know, especially if the Democrats don't do anything, you know, if it's just business as usual. Again, you know, fucking saw an article about the first like press conference for Biden's, Biden's first his first press secretary giving the thing, and the article was like, it was amazing. She was so amazing because she wasn't doing anything crazy. You know, this press secretary wasn't behaving like the one before her. So now like they're getting kudos for just being baseline, normal, boring. And I'm scared that people will just be like, all right, just let them do whatever they want because it's not what it was before. So they'll be getting all this, a lot of rope to do whatever they want because they're just so much better compared to what the shit that was there before, even though they are still shit and they're still not doing anything. Like, I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm not giving Biden a lot of time before I start fucking riding him. You know, I'm like literally a month. I don't know. Like we were saying, shit can happen very quickly, and if it doesn't happen, like I know we put us back in the Paris Agreement and got rid of the Keystone Pipeline, I think. So he's done a bunch of like some stuff. We're still in a pandemic. There's still tens of millions of people unemployed in America, and there's still all these people without healthcare. Like, I like that you're doing that stuff with the Paris Accord and with the pipeline, but that doesn't fucking help the everyman right now. So it's like they're still not helping the American people. And I don't know if you saw, but AOC was at, she wasn't at the inauguration, I don't think, or she wasn't at least there all day. She went to go help this like local company that's on strike in New York, and she was out there helping, like supporting them with a loudspeaker and trying to put it on Instagram to get more traction with it. So she was out there literally helping these people who just want $1 more an hour of a raise, so they're on strike. So she's, literally walking the walk while they're out there like, look at my big fucking Bible, and I'm here for unity, and all this bubble talk, this popcorn talk. And
I
but they
smoked
still,
crack with Lady Gaga. Isn't it cool that she's doing the singing?
yeah, right. Yeah, that's cool. Garth Brooks, amen.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's very similar. See, again, it's like that whole thing. People in the conspiracy world just got so swooned by all this stuff that they forgot one of the main aspects, that it doesn't matter who is on the bill to vote for. They're both they're both two sides of the same coin. Essentially, it doesn't matter who you're in there, even though a lot of superficial things change. And there's president's kind of like a conductor. Depending on who the conductor is, it can change the pace and the feel of the way the music is played. It could be music symphony, or it could be a cacophony depending on who's conducting it. But still, it's the same thing. And a lot of people, like, even when Obama, oh, he's the disclosure president, oh, he's different. It's like, I don't trust any of these people like that. Like, I'm not going to go as far as to assume that they're reptilian aliens in disguise or doing face off or something. One of the things that we need to remember, first of all, is anyone that's going deep into conspiracies, is the first and most important thing you got to remember is that we really don't know what's going on. We don't know. We can have, something, information can come into our system that can resonate with us, and we can feel and believe that's what's happening, but we don't know what's happening. Most people don't have insiders. And even with the insiders, like, how do you, it's everything's so compartmentalized. That's not a conspiracy theory. Everything's so compartmentalized. How do you know that the person giving you information is not giving you altered information from some other agenda? So it's like, you got to remember, going forward, you still got to remain open and curious to what's happening, which is that humility that comes in. So it's like, yeah, we can have a lot of powerful assumptions that will guide our beliefs and our values about certain things, but we got to also remember we don't know. And like a lot of these QAnon people, the vast majority of them, it's like one of the hallmark attributes of the QAnon people is that they know what's going on. They know the truth now. They took the red pill and they know the truth. And there's all these people that don't know the truth. I'm better than them. I got to wake them up. And if they don't want to wake up, they're just a bunch of drones or sheeple or whatever. And it's this whole hard line thing. And when we like how these presidents, they're like all part of the same thing. And yeah, Trump was not a politician. He was not the same group that a lot of these people came from. But yeah, he was a billionaire. He comes from money. He's wealthy within all of these communities. So look at the photos of the people he's with. He's not an outsider. He was in that world. He was just different. So for people to think that he was somehow different, it's like, it's easy to see that myth because of how different he talked and everything and acted. And how he also took out both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Like when he was at the debates in the beginning, he first targeted all the Republicans. But anyway, meandering around a little bit here, but my point is when we went from Bush to Obama, after 8 years of Bush and 9/11 and that crazy bullshit, to have the first black president who spoke really eloquently, had all these really big, important things that spoke to the vulnerability of the nation. Because that's the thing that is the reality here. Why I think also QAnon has become such a phenomenon is because people are super vulnerable. Like you said, we don't have the healthcare. We are unemployed. We don't have a lot of things that give us the dignity of life. So it's like when you're vulnerable, you're more needy. It's like you're floating in the water without a life raft. Anything that comes near you, you're going to want to grab it to get on. And Trump was that thing who was able to manipulate. But same thing with Obama. It's like we ping pong back and forth. It's almost like, well, Obama's so much better when you put him next to Bush. It's like, see the contrast, like, oh, so much better. But then as the years go by, what ended up happening? We got into 8 more wars. Tons of terrible shit happened. The way that Obama handled the Michigan water crisis, like absolutely horrendous. He went in there and gaslit all those people and drank the water. And he's like, you guys are fine. I ate paint lead when I was a kid. So, no worries. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? So it's like now when you put Trump and Biden together, yeah, clearly Biden is better when you put them next to each other. Just like you said, oh, well, she's not saying anything crazy, so that's good. It's like, what kind of low bar are we setting for ourselves here?
Exactly.
And I think that's just part of the plan of the hidden influence of special interests, whether you want to call it Illuminati, cabal, or whatever, just special interest groups that are manipulating the situation. Because it's like, hey, what a coincidence. Maybe that is all part of the plan, was to get everybody riled up and, oh my God, this is so terrible, to like easily conform to somebody like Joe Biden, who ran for president 4 times and lost. He's like an empty shell of a man, basically. He's just a vessel for all these other special interest groups. But people are so like, oh God, Trump is so terrible. At least it's not Trump. It's like, that concerns me.
And then that other little piece of like having Kamala in there, like, oh my God, first, Asian woman, first black woman, first woman. It's like, oh my, everything. And then it's just all, it's all a facade basically. And putting him right next to Trump, anybody, a fucking literally a shiny turd looks good next to Trump right now. And if somebody would have told you, that we were running Biden against Trump the first time, people would have been like, God damn it, Biden, like, fuck, instead of Hillary, people still wouldn't have been, people were jazzed about Hillary, I think, because she was a woman, literally, but even though she fucking sucks. But if it was Biden running in 2016, everyone would have been like, that fucking, God damn it, like, Biden, get out of there, basically. But now it's all of a sudden, oh, Biden, he's so presidential, classic old white man, old white hair, fucking gonna be 80 years old. Like, like you said, the bar is just, it's so low. But yes, the people behind the scenes, I think, took advantage of the situation, but I don't know if they helped themselves. How we always talk about how 9/11 ended up being, going against the people who perpetrated, whether or not it was Osama bin Laden, he got killed, all of his people got killed, or it was the Bush administration like it woke up so many people to like what the fuck is happening. No matter who did it, it fucked over who did it eventually. And I think that's kind of inevitably what's happening now. Because of course, as we've known for a long time, and as Game of Thrones taught us, chaos is a ladder. So these people will revel in the chaos. So like people storming the Capitol, they don't care if it's blue people or red people. Like that's good for them, like more. And then like I texted you the other day, it's like then you got people calling for martial law. Like when's the last time there were people calling for martial law? That's always been like the worst thing that could happen. Like, oh shit, we don't want them to install martial law. Like, watch out. And now all of a sudden there's 70 million people hoping it's going to happen. So it really has benefited the people behind the curtain, but it is also inevitably going to fuck them because like people were joking about making the classic Frankenstein, you build you create a monster and then it turns on you. Like who would have seen that coming? Like who would have seen the GOP people supporting Trump and then all of a sudden Trump starts eating them, it's like, oh my God, who could have fucking seen that? Of course. So if you create a mob, the mob's going to turn on you at some point. Like you can only direct a mob a little bit, but inevitably they're going to start eating their own, because that's just what happens. So I think that's going to keep happening, and especially if Biden doesn't do anything, So it's the anger is going to go away. You're back. Can you hear me?
Yep.
You froze a little bit there.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, well, let's fucking move on from this shit. But yeah, who knows what's gonna happen? But I know David doesn't know. So, and we don't know either. But I like that. We don't know. People got to stop being so certain about stuff. Be open to stuff. We're wrong all the time. I know I'm wrong all the time. I've believed things that were 100% not true, and I probably told people about them as if they were true, and I was better than them. And I know the feeling of that feeling that more than other people. It's a good feeling. But we need to get over our shit basically as a country and kind of just go forward with this wild experience that we've had, and not be certain about anything. Don't take anybody at their word as far as politics goes, and let's walk the walk. Let's stop fucking saying these bullshit platitudes, like you were saying, that empty speech that he had, and people latched onto a bunch of stuff that Joe Biden said, like he's like, like he's the new MLK, but it's like, no, dude.
Yeah,
it's all the same old
next
shit.
To Trump, he seems like freaking Martin Luther King Jr.
It's all the same old shit. We just forgot about it for 4 years. It's like this is the same story again. So I think they're going to try to pull the same thing again, and I don't think it's going to work again. So I'm hopeful that, I don't want people storming capitals. I don't want people getting hurt, but I think the kind of the Band-Aids off, or whatever the fucking the expression is, like you can't put Pandora back in the box, dude. So
Pandora like comes out of the box. Yeah, and it's another myth that is easy to latch onto when it comes to all these conspiracies with a hidden group of influencers that have all this power, like the image of a puppet master, and we're all, attached by strings, and they have everything under control, like Mandala, like everything's under control. No, it's not as simple as that. That's a big first misperception, is that they control that group or those individuals, or those ideas and infrastructure, that they control things. They don't control things. We are human beings. That's not where our freedom lies. We don't control our reality. We can influence our reality by how we react. So it's not about control, it's about influence. And that's the thing. Like, we're not robots. Robots are like us, but we have intuition. We have things that, robots are still not fully caught up onto yet. So we can influence the world. And there are people that can influence the world a lot more significantly than others. Like, some, like us, like if we wanted to put something in all the newspapers, like right now, we couldn't do that. But there are certain people that if they made a decision, like put it in the paper, boom, it's like the next day everyone's reading it. That's not a conspiracy. There are individuals and groups that have a lot of power and influence, but they don't control. And I think that's one of the things that they would like us to believe, is that they do control, because that relinquishes our power and onto them. And and they don't control it, so that we're making them out to be more powerful than they
Right.
really are, because we're just as powerful as they are, but we just don't believe it. And it's really like that Mickey Mouse story. It's Sorcerer's Apprentice. It's like, if we could
Right.
see the they as they really were, they would be exactly Mickey Mouse from that cartoon. Mickey Mouse is able to animate all those brooms using this magic power, and he's got it seems like everything's under control, and he has that dream. Actually, astral projects out of his body and is conducting storms, and it's like it's like, and but then what happens is, like, Mickey wakes up and the place is completely flooded. The whole thing's out of control, and he can't stop what he started. He doesn't.
Yep.
He's not in control of shit. He doesn't even know how to use the magic properly, because he's Mickey Mouse. His job is the custodian. He's supposed to clean up the sorcerer's lab when he's gone. So he's fucking around, and it's like we're acting like he's the sorcerer. He's not the fucking sorcerer.
Right.
They're not what they are in that respect. And that also leads back into this whole thing of, like, spiritual people in this QAnon world really taking all of the worst parts of religion and applying it to this new age thing. It's like the same exact David Wilcock's whole ascension myth is really the same thing as Revelations. And he's been leaning much more into Christianity. And it's like, there's the good people and the bad people. There's good and evil. We need to, the whole thing, the mass arrest, the evil people are going down. Yeah, let's hold people accountable, but, like, to intermingle those spiritual concepts with this war, it totally obfuscates the whole new paradigm where we're all supposed to be one and compassionate and forgiving and these types of things. Like,
Right. Yeah.
it doesn't mean we be little bitches and just, like, let the bad guys, the bad influencers keep knocking us down all the time. Sometimes we got to stand up and
Right.
face these things, but that does not
Mhm.
mean we just do the same thing that we've always done. We just fight the bad guys, take out the bad guys, and win the war, and then everything's
Yeah.
fine. It's like military
Right.
tribunal. Oh,
Perpetually.
like, all these people are gonna get arrested, and the chain of command, and then newly appointed people are gonna be chosen to put in there. But who puts those people in there? How do we know those people
Yeah.
aren't some assholes? That happens all the time in other countries where there's a coup because there's a terrible government, but then the military comes in and they suck. They're just as bad on another level.
Right.
But
Yeah.
David wants us to trust,
Yeah.
trust the plan, trust the alliance. They're the good guys. Like, how do we fucking know?
Right. And as you're saying that, it kind of made me, like, think about it, like the lifting of the veil and like all becoming one. A lot of that, most of that is the transparency, right? Like, we don't, it's cool to think that all this stuff is happening behind the scenes and in the shadows, and we got secret government spies going in here and getting, that one piece of information that gets that one big bad guy, and then they have it in a sealed indictment, and then they have a secret court where they're found secretly guilty by some secret judge. And it's like, that's really exciting to think about, because we all love movies and we love dramatic stories, and it's just like, ooh. And that's always the part that's appealed to me the most. It was like, because the world seems so bland, obviously there's a lot of wild shit, but, like, living in America or the Midwest or in Mayapack or Milwaukee, like, it's like, all right, not much is really going on. So it's really exciting to think that there is this Jason Bourne, there is this James Bond, there are these secret government agencies doing the bidding. There's a secret war, but that's how it's always been. And that's only led to where we are now, which is kind of in a very shitty place. And I think in order for that stuff to happen, that can't happen behind the scenes. I don't want to wake up and hear that there've been mass arrests. I want to fucking see it. I want to be there. I want to hear it open court. I want to see these people admit to their crimes. I don't want all this stuff done in secret, because that's more divisive. And like you said, who are these people that are doing it? Who watches the Watchmen? Who puts these people in the court, and where are they getting sent to jail? And, like, who decides this? Like, does David decide this? Does fucking Corey Good? Do the Blue Avians? Like, who put them in charge? I don't care if they're a billion years in advance of us. Like, this is our shit right now, and I want to know what's going on. I want to be involved in it. I want to see it, and I want it to be proved to me that this is the right thing to do, and I want to do it the right way. And every time you suggest that something's happening in the darkness, it just promotes more darkness. And I think for things to actually happen, it needs to be out in the light. It needs to be out in the fucking light, and I want to see it out and happening, and I don't want any more bullshit. And I think that we've talked about before, that's a big reason why so many people like Trump, is because he was always just talking about shit very candidly, talking about who he hated, talking about who he liked, who said this and who did that. And I was like, that's refreshing, because he's not speaking in code, even though, of course, he ended up speaking in code according to these people. But we get the classic regular president who says stuff, but that they don't mean what they say because stuff is really going on in the background. I don't want that anymore. And I'm kind of hoping that Joe is so old and he's been in the game so long, he's kind of at a point where he's like, fuck it, because he's seen it. He knows the game. He's been in it for 40 years. He's seen this happen. He's had tragedy in his personal life. He's been involved in wars. He's been involved in this and bills and done terrible things to black people. And he admitted that was horrible with the crime bill. And I'm really hoping he just is like, I'm literally going to die in less than 10 years. I might only have one term as a president. I finally gotten to this point where I really want to be. Let's do it. Let's just let it all out here on the table here, because, his son's legacy is already fucked. So he doesn't have to worry about like his kids. He doesn't have all this stuff to think about. He doesn't need to worry about the wealth of his legacy, of his whatever. He's already a 10 times over millionaire, whatever. And I'm really hoping he just kind of has this kind of fuck it attitude, because I do sense like a good nature in him. Like he is still very cliche politician, and I'm not going to believe everything he says, but there seems to be stuff, and the way he reacts to stuff, and he seems to have a good heart. He's just such a player in this game. But I'm really hoping something snap, like we always talked about, the Denzel Washington, Barack Obama, kind of one day where he just drops the facade, is like, fuck it. That's what I'm kind of hoping for in Joe's own way, like, what, like how he got into the debates, because he had to get that way in the debates because of how Trump was behaving. But he had to drop his facade and be like, come on, man. Literally said, come on, man, yeah. in the debate. And that's not normal at all. So he has that within him. And I'm really hoping he doesn't lose that. And he doesn't just keep playing the game for the sake of keep playing the game. I really hope he has a really big opportunity, because of what just happened and because of where he is in his life and because of him knowing the rules in the game so much. He has a huge opportunity to actually do a lot of real good things for a lot of people, for America. And I just really hope he does that, and he doesn't just try to spend 4 years undoing what has been done the last 4 years. And then we just, like you said, keep ping-ponging back and forth. But obviously, with that said, I'm not holding my breath. I'm not expecting anything from him besides the status quo. So I just don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is exciting, but it's also fucking scary. Is California just falling into a fucking pit, dude? Like everything I see about California just seems like, obviously, especially LA, but it just seems like it's falling into a fucking third world country. Is that being exaggerated?
I mean, some places more than others, for sure. San Francisco and Los Angeles. I mean, the homeless problem in San Francisco is extremely bad. It's been getting worse. LA as well. With the pandemic, Los Angeles is just pandemic world central, so that's not good. There is a palpable fear, at least in my mind, in my perception, of being in Los Angeles, and I mean, the governor sucks.
Pretty right. That's all. Everybody hates the governor, him, right? Yeah. Everybody hates him.
I voted for him, and immediately after I voted for him, I regretted that decision. But yeah, it's like, what else were the choices, right? Is going to be him or some right-wing Trump Republican guy. It's like, yeah. I hate being in this position. That's where it's like, America, vote, freedom. It's like, fuck you, man. Like this is, yeah, but it got to organize in the grassroots. And it's like back in my day in the 60s, and we voted and organized. It's like, yeah, that was in the 60s. It was a little different then. Right. All right. You had a totally different generation, different mindset, worldview. It's like I mean, yeah, completely different. But yeah, California, man, it's like, and then the fires, there's more fires up in Santa Cruz right now near my uncle's house. Their power's been out. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I haven't seen much about it in the news. I don't think it's as bad as it was last year, but there's the fires. Everything's so dry.
How is it down in Oceanside though? Kind of everything kind of normal-ish down
Yeah,
there.
yeah, everything's pretty normalish down here.
Have you
I
been
really
like
like it.
out on the town?
Yeah, yeah, town. I mean, town's fine. There are places open. It's not like, as you know, it's not like a real metropolitan area. So there's,
Right.
there's foot traffic and people out walking around and doing stuff outside. It's just the vibe here has always been way chiller than LA or
Right.
anything. And it still feels that way. Um, yeah, it's just it's one of those things. It's just California is one of the I think it's the wealthiest state in the country, and it's got one of the worst homelessness problems. So that's just again one of those things where it's like, looking at the Democratic Party, which is why I like you said, I'm not holding my breath really either. That's how they do it. They're like, we're gonna say all these things, and this is what we stand for. Well, this is my belief. We vote for them based on their beliefs, but then when their actions come into play, it's like, fuck your actions. Like your actions
Right.
are no good, no fucking
Yeah.
good. And there's so many
Yeah.
people leaving. Like California has had a huge
Right.
exodus
Yeah.
over the last year, tens of thousands, like 75,000 people have left, I think, already, which is, I guess not a lot in the
Well, yeah.
scope
Right.
of, but it is a fair amount.
And it's bad. They're getting bad publicity. I mean, is Tesla still like moving out? Right?
Yeah,
Weren't they going to do that? Yeah,
yeah,
they're
they're
moving out.
leaving.
Like literally,
Joe
Joe
Rogan
Rogan
left.
leaving was that's really bad publicity for them. Joe Rogan like talking shit like that was really bad.
Big time
I'm
bad
sure he
publicity for
single-handedly
California.
influenced a lot of people, like either not moving there or and especially tech seems like the go for the California refugees.
Yeah.
Um, I know I'm still hoping. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Okay.
fine.
Froze there for a second. I'm still hoping that this is kind of like it's you can't really use this word well, but I'm hoping it's like a cleansing of California, and while these people are leaving and all these issues are kind of being brought to the forefront, and I hope there's kind of like a rebirth. I've said that to you about Hollywood too. Like I really hope there's this kind of
Yeah.
we're just getting everything out, getting down to the nitty gritty, and then we have to like redo shit, or just like start from the bottom and start taking care of some real shit. I know it's not easy because yeah, like you said, California is basically its own country. Um, and hopefully having a democratic president now will help them a little bit because now they won't be like seen as a not cool guy who doesn't like me, so I'm not going to treat him well. Like Trump felt like those guys don't like me, so screw them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like Newsom is not the answer. But I feel like LA's never really, our California's never really had good governors, right? Like even when
Historically.
the governor was in there, people didn't really like Arnold that much, right?
No, he
When he
didn't
was in
do
there.
that well. I think. I
Oh, he
mean,
was a Republican though, right?
yeah, he's Republican. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
People didn't really. It was one of those things. Like people liked him, but when it
yeah.
came down to actions and policies, they weren't necessarily as good. I mean, Ronald Reagan was the governor of California.
Right, right,
It's
right.
like
The actor?
the actor, really? Yeah. So I don't know, man. I still absolutely love California. Like when I talked to
Yeah,
Uncle
I mean
Bruce. Yeah.
it's still here. Like it's not going to go away from me. Like I know that, but I'm just it's like I'm a concerned cousin or something like that. I'm really worried about my friend of California. I'm not worried about you, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
worried
yeah.
about the
I mean, dude, I mean, all it would take is a fucking, knock on wood, really. All it would take is just one big earthquake to really fuck shit up for real.
for a long time, like
Yeah.
beyond repair, like a decade.
Yeah. I mean, some environmental collapse of some sort. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like living on the edge. But that's also where a lot of the magic happens. And that's
Right.
like Uncle Bruce is, when I talked to him in New Zealand, he was saying, oh, you should come move to New Zealand because Netflix is going to start filming all their stuff down here. Like there's no COVID and everything's great. And I'm like, first of all, why would you say that to me when no one is even allowed to go to New Zealand unless you're a resident?
Right.
It's like you're just
Yeah.
like bragging that you live in a wonderful place. And then the
Mhm.
other And the other side of it, it's just like, no, I personally don't really want to leave. I mean, America in general, or California. I'd like to stay
Yeah.
here. I'm not into
Hmm.
this whole running away thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's I yeah, I feel like, oh, I've spent thousands of years trying to get back here to just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh my God, things are getting too crazy. I gotta get out of here. It's like, really, in the scope of hundreds of lifetimes, like, oh, now shit's bad. I gotta get out of here. I don't think so.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I feel like I gotta get back there. Um, I got to get back there. But I think I know I've gone back and forth so many times, but I think I'm temporarily over my like love affair with Los Angeles. Because I kept being like borderline obsessive with it, but I know that doesn't exist right now. That Los Angeles doesn't exist right now. Um, so I'm very excited to move to San Diego just for a number of reasons because I've never lived there before and it's one of the parts of California, I've never really. I mean, obviously, I've been to your parents' house, half a dozen times, but um, yeah, I'm excited for the new energy and the new experience down there, and the new scene and the new vibes, and being Los Angeles adjacent. So I'm still really hoping that the kind of the housing bubble that'll be a positive thing. Is that rent will go down because I feel like if they want people to move back to California, what's the first thing you should do? Like fucking get rid of these ridiculous prices for everything. That's a huge incentive. If all of a sudden there's cheap housing in LA, like first of all, homeless problem, and you're starting to solve that issue, and you're being back and workers back and industry back. So hopefully they can get their shit together in that way. But I'm looking forward to hopefully, um, you know, cheaper how advantages because of how shitty things are. So, but I am looking forward to the new adventure in San Diego, and
Yeah,
also
I
the
mean, you
weather.
got the California tattoo. You don't have a
Hmm.
Los Angeles tattoo. You got a
Right,
California
right,
tattoo. You've been in Los Angeles. You've been in the Bay
yeah,
Area. It's the next
right, right.
logical place
Yep.
to be, at least,
I have toyed over the years with like Humboldt, though.
Oh,
That's
right.
always been,
Yeah. I would love to live up there.
but
It's one of those things like, oh hi, like I
yeah.
would like to be a little
Is
bit.
Kenny? Do you ever talk to Kenny Black?
I haven't talked to him, but La Scala actually called me. Every now and then he calls me, and I talked to him. He
Of
lives
course,
up
of
there, and
course.
he was coming down. Kenny came down to visit La
Okay,
Scala for like a night or something like that. I haven't talked to him in many years, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he lives up there.
okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. To be in
But,
nature, to be
yeah,
closer to nature
but yeah,
in
obviously
general.
that'd be too. It has a really good vibe up there too. But that's not for
Absolutely.
now. I don't think. I think that's for later.
Yeah,
Um,
that's like,
San Diego has more of an active vibe to it. I feel like California is like a retirement or take a year or two off or something like that.
exactly like
Or
Crestone. Like
Humboldt.
I loved being out there for a period of
Right.
time, but it's too isolated. It's too
Yeah.
isolated. Like I can't be in a place where um it's like, it's again, best of it's best ideally it would be nice to have the best of both worlds, is to be close to nature but not like in the grips of a concrete city as well,
Right.
if we had the choice, which, it's very possible. And like you said, the housing situation is, I mean, I know places with rent are going down, um, and it's only a matter of time before uh, they become extremely cheap.
Yeah, I'm hoping
I'm
so.
really hoping so.
Um, but I'm also kind of looking forward to living in a box again. Like my last apartment. You didn't. I mean, you came when I lived with Skylar, and that was kind of like a bigger apartment for a two-bedroom for sure. A lot of space. Obviously, all my shit was in my room. And then my last apartment, I had two bedrooms, so I had like the office room, and then I had my bedroom, and then I had the kitchen and the living room, and it was nice to have all that. But like moving down into my parents' basement, obviously all of my shit is in one place, and it's kind of nice to kind of. I know like the reason why you got an office, a part of it is to like kind of have a different mindset and be able to put yourself in in the mindset of this or that, and then they say it's not good to have your working stuff in your bedroom because when you go in there, your brain's like, wait, what am I doing? Am I working? Am I watching TV or am I going to sleep? But I'm looking forward to like literally getting a studio, like a 300 square foot studio, and like having everything in my space. And then also Machiavelli doesn't hang out with me anymore here because he has like 20 rooms to hang out in. So I'm looking forward to having Machiavelli like forced hangouts, having everything in one space. And I haven't lived in like a studio since um, NCR. When we met each other, that was the last time I was in like such a one room space basically. Obviously, don't want a shared bathroom again.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm looking forward to like just having it, maybe hopefully some good natural lighting and walk to the beach or whatever. I'm looking forward to that new experience. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
that.
something that can help me keep my mentality positive, to stay positive because it's been so long now. I'm like almost forgetting. Sometimes I forget like what I'm doing right now. Like I'm here because I'm going there, but I like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm just here. I'm like, no, you're not just here. You're going there. That's why you're here now. It's just been like felt like 10 years in the last 10 months. So it's I'm kind of getting excited again because now it's like, all right, it's a new year. I'm moving this year, as I said before to you. So in the next couple of months, we can start thinking about it when they start opening up stuff again and people get vaccinated. Like in Wisconsin here, they just said they're like boarding group number 2 now. Finally, we're past first class, and all the people that need help to get on the plane and anybody on a wheelchair or kids, they're all on the plane right now, getting vaccinated. And now they're like, all right, calling boarding call number 2. So now my dad, anybody 65 and up, is allowed to go and kind of sign up. So it seems like I know some places are better at distributing than others. But it seems like it's going. We're in the process, and in the next couple of months, we'll have all of the most at-risk people will be vaccinated, and the restaurants will start hopefully opening up, and that's kind of honestly what I'm waiting for. Obviously, because I'm going to try to get a serving job when I get out there. So once restaurants start actually opening up, I want to time that really well because obviously they're going to need more. A really good like opportunity for me to be like find a good spot that's just opening up again, and then they need 20 new people, so
Exactly.
everyone will be hiring like crazy. So I got to keep reminding myself that that's still happening, but it's easy to forget. But these conversations always kind of help me rejuvenate that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's almost been a year now. Or I guess 2 months. It'll be a year.
Wow. Yeah. I'm flying. Yeah, having a place that I can resonate with that's just you want like a room, like a studio. After being in Crestone, where I had basically half that house,
Yeah.
all my shit was spread out all over the place, and it kind of stressed me out a little bit. It's like even though it was great having like all this space, but it was like I don't know, it was just I felt it was spread too thin. And
Right.
once I
Right.
was in Hollywood, it was like I can literally look and see there's all my shit right there. It helped me be a
Mhm.
little bit more minimalistic because there's not as much
Right.
space to just like accumulate things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be nice. And yeah, it's that's with that's when I texted you yesterday. It was like Mandala is happening live. I like go out and look at the TV, and they're like, the president is ordering the accelerated vaccines and 100 million shots in everyone's arm, and oh, this just did. Just seeing all that, I'm just like, holy shit. So but I do think it's a good thing that uh for society that we have somebody in charge that is actually going to be more proactive with handling the virus,
Right. Right.
as opposed to somebody who arguably considers it non-existent or nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because those are that's an extreme. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not for like mandatory vaccinations or anything like that, but I am for recognizing that this thing is real. Don't have somebody in there that's gonna get people who are vulnerable to think like, oh, you know what, maybe I don't need to wear a mask. I I got good beliefs. I don't need to wear a mask. There's no virus. The virus isn't real. It's all mind control. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, no, it's a fucking real virus and we need to take it seriously. Take it more seriously. Like, look at other places in the world. They have the virus and they're not doing nearly as bad as we are. Why is that? So that would be good.
Right.
If now that Biden administration is in with the not just him, but the Democrats have that foothold now that they do, that could
Right.
mean that we don't have to be in this perpetual lockdown all the time.
Right. And that's also another reason why there's no excuse. The Democrats have control of everything. Like there
Yeah.
is no excuse. There is no
Yeah.
excuse. So you better fucking get to it, you know?
Exactly.
So that'll be the real test is like, if you want to do shit, then you do it. But you literally don't have to deal with, I know you have to deal with the Republicans, but you don't have to get their fucking permission now. Like you don't have to appease to Mitch McConnell. Like we can make it happen. So, but
Yeah.
you know, we can only do so much in that. We have no control of that. You and I, at least. We have control over, as you were saying before, you know, some people can just buy, you know, a newspaper article and have that influence. But, you know, and that was making me thinking, we've talked about this many times, but that's why I think we are drawn to making movies and telling stories, because that has a massive influence. And if you could tell, you know, the more people you could tell a story to, the more people you can influence, and the better the story, the better the influence. And you're not preaching and you're not saying to somebody, you need to do this. You're kind of imprinting somebody and imprinting something in their like psyche, in their soul. Like you're influencing them on the most constructive level, like Psych K, you know, where we've said before, movies basically just like a Psych K balance. So that's a lot of power to have. But if you're using it consciously, there's a lot of good that can be done, based on our perspective of what good is. Obviously, who the fuck are we? But this is where we are, and this is who we are, and this is what we're drawn to. So it's good to remember that we have that kind of superpower of movie making. And movies aren't going to go away. Like this pandemic has proven that people still want movies, and they're going to find a way to make movies, even if it's shady. And Gavin Newsom has to like make exceptions for the film industry and screw other local, you know, shops and stuff like that. But the movie industry is not going to go away. And that's one thing I am excited about. Like from this having 2020, that lull of movies, now 2021, we're just going to get like fucked in the face all year by movies. I remember you saying that there weren't any theaters open in LA. Are there any open around you now in Oceanside?
No, there are some, like I think maybe 45 minutes away, something like that. They're not really readily available. And I think mentioned this at some point on the last podcast we did, but Warner Brothers with HBO Max has released the deal where all of the movies that Warner Brother was going to release, they're going to come out on HBO. So it's like I'm really looking forward to having more content. That's the thing. Like
Right.
it's yeah.
So is HBO? Did HBO Go just go away?
No, HBO Go still exists. If you It's for people that have subscribed to HBO, like if they have a dish network on a cable
Okay.
and they're paying, and they like on TV, traditional TV, they have HBO. HBO Go is the platform where you can log in with your cable provider information. HBO Now is the one they're phasing out. That was the one, if you didn't have a cable provider, you could just like sign up on HBO Now and stream it directly. But then HBO Max came in when they made a deal with Warner Brothers. So there was a point where it's like you had HBO Go, Now, and Max and TV. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? And they're all the same price, but they've been phasing out HBO Now. HBO Max is actually really good. They're with the content, the Warner Brothers stuff they have on there. Really, really good. So yeah.
Well, because I had my buddy's HBO Go on the Roku.
Yeah.
And then one day the HBO Go icon was gone, and there was just an HBO Max one.
Yeah, I know. And then, okay, so I had HBO Go, and then I told my parents to get rid of that because it was I think with HBO Go, when Game of Thrones was on, it wouldn't premiere, like the new show wouldn't be on for like a whole day. It wouldn't come, like if it was supposed to be on at 7 p.m. on Sunday, it wouldn't be on until like Monday sometime. So that had to go because we needed to see Game of Thrones, right? So we got rid of that, got HBO Now. but then they stopped using the HBO Now, both that and HBO Go app on Roku. So it's like you couldn't, or you could watch it on Roku, but you couldn't watch it on an iPad. Like they had all these really weird things. He's like, I couldn't watch fucking HBO with an app. So they got it all figured out now, and it's totally worth it. I have HBO Max. I'll send you my login information.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Wonder Woman 1984 is on there. It's got 4 more days, I think. It really just want to rewatch that movie as many times as I can before it goes away.
I hope I never see a second of that movie ever again.
Oh God, it's like I watched it again. There like we said, there were some good parts in there. There were some entertaining parts, but overall, man, what a terrible fucking movie. Like there were so many things that the writing, the directing, acting, a lot of the cases, it was just disturbingly bad.
Yeah, it was it showed you how bad things can really be, even if there is $100 million invested.
Yeah.
And some legit actors.
Yeah.
Like it's not like that movie was full of bad actors. It was just everything else was bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like one of the books that I read, it was about writing. It was like you kind of feel like movies like that. They're like, because I've said this to myself and I've made myself feel better about this, and I've verbalized it to you. But it's like if that movie can get made, like Mandala can for sure get made. Because if there are people, dumb fucks writing dumb fucking movies like that are getting produced and made. But this book kind of reassured me that it's like, it's not what you think it is. It's not just some dumb dude writing a dumb story that doesn't make any fucking sense. There's like a million other things that go into it. They're all professional writers. They're there for a reason. And it just got rewritten so many times. Things got taken out because of this and that. And then agents and then people, producers and stuff like that. It just gets so convoluted, and they want this and they want that. We can't afford this, but this is in their contract. And then with all, too much of that, you get a movie like Wonder Woman 1984. So it's never really like, I can't believe someone wrote a dumb script, and just because that was their person, then of course they just made it. Like there's so much more.
It's
stuff
a collaboration.
That goes into it.
Movies by default.
There are probably a lot of
people.
Yeah, there were probably a lot of really good writers who wrote parts of that script, but it's not their fault. It just gets taken apart and put together, and they want this, and the other people want that, and the even though it makes no fucking sense. So, but it just amazes me though that a movie like that can still get. How can you invest that much money and then watch the movie and then think, yeah, that's fine. Like that still kind of surprises me.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but then it's like QAnon, right? I can imagine you get through the process so much that you watch the movie and you're just so like, man, this is amazing. It came out so good, because it's like you're already invested so much time, money, and everything into that it's like, okay, well, I don't see anything wrong with this. This looks fine. It looks fine to me. It's like, okay. Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll come back. I mean, movies will change a lot, and I really do think that that light, I think it was called the form, or no, the volume, the technology that they use for Mandalorian, that I have a feeling could become more standard when it comes to filming, because of the fact that you can do anything in these places. You don't need necessarily all the huge vast crew that would be required for something, to build sets and
the travel too. Like, especially now people can't be traveling all the time. That cuts out locations by like 50% probably. You can basically, if you want a mountaintop, you build a little thing that looks like a mountain top that you're standing on, and the rest of it could be what we saw in the Mandalorian. Like I couldn't ever tell that they weren't where they were. So yeah, I think that'll become, it's just more practical, right? Like you don't, like you said, you don't need a big crew or as big of a crew. You don't need to fly 300 people to Southeast Asia. You don't need to do all that stuff. So hopefully it'll make movies easier to make,
Yeah. and for a renaissance to come back in
Hmm.
movies, and even how the way the streaming services are going now, where Disney just started streaming WandaVision. Have you started watching that yet?
Haven't. I think I've heard good things. Have you watched it yet?
Yeah, it's I like it. I like it. It's pretty. It's different. Not what I was expecting. Been moving a little slower than I thought maybe it should, but I'm into it. It's a it's a nice thing to watch after Avengers Endgame, which was just so epic and like con- conclusional climax
Right.
for
Yeah.
the saga of the last 10 years. To go into WandaVision, which is essentially like I Love Lucy,
Huh.
standalone kind of like, it doesn't, it's because that was Endgame was the first Marvel movie in all those years that didn't have an end credit scene. So it's like, all right, we're taking a break. And then, like, of course, COVID happens synchronistically, and there's a whole year with nothing.
Yeah.
So obviously, the deep state and QAnon face-off scenario was under play, and it was all part of some master plan. Trust the plan.
Uh,
WandaVision will be out next year. Um, yeah. So, but like with all the streaming services too, like movies, we talked about this before, like how they're not just going to be able to make movies willy nilly. They're going to have to be much more mindful about, okay, well, if we're going to invest this money, we have like one shot. It's like when you're doing film versus digital. Digital, you can just run the thing the whole time. Oh, we can just make movies, movies. Now it's like, all right, well, we can only make couple of movies, so let's make the best movies that we possibly can.
right.
And like everything else would just be streaming, like which would be cool. Just make the movie theaters more of a
Straight to streaming instead of
straight
straight
to,
to
yeah,
video.
yeah, straight to tape.
Straight to
Oh my god.
yeah.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
that'll be cool.
I think it'll be a perfect storm with what's happened this whole last year, and then the development of technology, and then who knows what other technologies have come from, you know, from COVID times. You know, people being forced to be more innovative and figure out a better way to do something. Like we probably haven't even seen some stuff that they've come up with to kind of cut corners, or at least, you know, do it better in a more efficient way. So I think we're going to be breaking in at the perfect time. I think.
Yeah.
In BS way. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I think there will be that renaissance and that change, and I just kind of hope. But it also is kind of a catch-22 because I think a lot of people will just kind of be desperate for content, so we'll kind of accept shittier stuff for a while. You know, like, oh, I don't care what it is. Like when I went and see the movie Unhinged, I would have seen almost any movie, you know,
Yeah.
because I wanted to go see a movie. So I'm just hoping that they don't just start pushing shit out because they know we need it. You know, we're fiending for a hit right now. We don't
Yeah.
care if it's not the good quality shit. We just
Right.
want a fucking hit. We want to feel that feeling. We want to smell that popcorn and sit in that
Ooh,
dark, cold
popcorn.
room
The
for
popcorn.
2 hours. Whoop. No, I mean PC. We just
PC.
don't want that
Yeah, we don't want to
PC.
get a video taken down. You can't say that word anymore. And then it's gonna, the way it's shaping up to be. I guess it's not this year now. It keeps getting pushed back, but Avatar 2
Yeah.
coming out after all this, like
Right.
it's probably going to be the most epic fucking visual spectacle of all
Well,
time.
it fucking better be.
Yeah, after all these like over 10 years
Yeah.
working on this movie. I mean, they've got like 3 avatars like already in the can. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Who knows what they got? Who knows what Cameron's got planned for? You know, for that. Like if it's going to be a different 3D, if he's going to put in the rocket booster seats, or if he's going to do it in a
yeah,
different way. You know, like who fucking knows?
rocket booster seats. Yeah, they're gonna release the Avatar 2 at the same time as the free energy disclosure from the UFO
Yes.
task force. So all of the
Mhm.
movie theaters will be retrofitted with anti-gravity chairs. And it's just gonna be like a gimmick. You like walk in and they're just floating chairs and just like have a seat in a floating chair. And then just like the chairs will like go up and down as the movie is happening. They've got those D-box chairs, but yeah, James Cameron, if the maniac that he is, probably, you know, like you said, rocket booster chairs. It's
He's been quiet for a while, that Cameron guy. So who knows what he's up to?
yeah.
It's funny because I'm rewatching Entourage, and I'm just at
Oh,
the
nice.
episode now
Oh,
where
right.
they're doing
Aquaman.
Aquaman.
That is actually hilarious.
That also reignited my like fire for wanting to get go out there and have our own little squad again or whatever the fuck we're gonna do. But
Yeah. Yeah.
taking Hollywood by storm, fucking it in the ass, effing it in the A.
Effing it in the A.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like talking about the squad thing too, like of our projects, the Discount Shaman uh podcast with you, me, Tim, and Mayor. I think that could be because these are more casual podcasts, you know, but I feel like this one could be more, we could try to make it more like legit in the sense of potentially even getting like sponsors or ads that we can, companies that we can promote so that it could be maybe like a source of income, maybe not a
Right.
lot, but it could be something that might be neat to do.
No, I definitely think we should plan on making money in other ways uh, by doing stuff that we like. Because even just I know a million people are probably more than a million people make money by podcasts. Who knows how many people make careers out of podcasts? But that seems to be one of those things that you can't really oversaturate. Like there's never going to be too many podcasts. So it basically comes down to if it has quality to it and it has something that people want to like watch and listen to, or if they like the people who are talking and like hearing their opinions, then there's a market for it.
Yep.
Like I've watched a lot of recently. I've been getting into not recently this last couple of years. We're into like soccer podcasts. People talking about mostly Arsenal, but like their perspectives, and then they have watch alongs. Like they'll have a group. This one called the Kickoff. I really like. It's just four English dudes, usually four, and they all like different teams. And they're sitting in a nice like I don't know if it's a studio or something. It's a nice area, and they live stream. They're watching the game, but obviously they don't have the game sound or game anything because then they get pulled off YouTube. But they're like kind of casually talking about this and that, and then something happens in the game, they'll talk about the game. But those guys are for sure making plenty of money, and then now they've been recently getting sponsored, so they'll have like a 30-second thing in the beginning. Not like, hey, buy Dyson vacuum cleaner, but it's like we're teaming up with this app or that. They have to do their little thing, and they're definitely making and they're just a bunch of dudes talking about soccer. Like none of them are professional anything. They're just like what they do, but I like listening to them talk.
Yep.
So, and I think we have that kind of quality, but if we can, like I said, like you were saying, have more of a focal point or just more direction or more like a specific kind of podcast. I think there's definitely money to be made in that. And I think, as much as I always fantasize about us just bursting into the industry and making a career out of that, I think should do in the beginning at least tangible things and try to make money off of what we can do right now.
Yeah.
And I think this has always been a thing that we have like a tool in the box, and we have people that we could talk to. We know people that are fun and funny and have good perspectives, and yada yada yada, and we like talking about a variety of topics. So yeah, I definitely think that has a lot of potential for marketability and actually making some money and potential for enough enough money to live on.
Yeah.
We just have to have like someone to keep us on track. Like
Right.
one of the four of us would have to be like, I don't know, just a little more organized, I guess. Because like you
Yeah.
said, you and I are a little more free flowing, but that's how it's always been with you and I. But
Yeah. Yeah. And also just the having I know having Tim in there will be good too, because he's really good with a lot of the technical stuff. Like he works for NASA. He's a IT guy, works for NASA. So like building the website and things like that. Those are all these little steps of making it just with the intention too of using it to generate an income as well. Like
right.
that's going to be that'll be a good thing. Like you were saying, it's to have something that we want to do as a means of generating income. That would, like, on top
Right.
of everything else that we're doing. Like, why the hell not?
And yeah, and also like when I was texting you about making a little movie or something like that, I think I've almost like forgotten that we can do that. I've
Yeah.
gotten to the point where I'm like only thinking about things on a mandala level, which is just outrageous. But it's like, with YouTube and with podcasts, there's so many people in fucking TikTok. Like I'm not on TikTok, but people are making fucking livelihoods out of that, out of just kind of like, just even the guy who who does the reviews, like talking to himself. Like that probably started him literally in his apartment talking to himself.
Yep.
Um, but it's funny and it's catchy and he knows what he's doing. And there's just so much potential for that kind of stuff. And then even like being smart about it, like the part of the reason I was saying we can make fun of David Wilcock is because there's a market for that already, like, so
Yeah, there's a market for that.
and I don't want to like piggyback on, Trump impersonations. Anytime I see somebody doing a Trump impersonation these days, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like that's the most washed out thing you could possibly do. It's not
Yeah.
fucking funny anymore.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
with that in mind, there's a lot for us that we can do, and there's so much accessibility. Like we could easily make money before we're actually making movies, like on the big time level. And I think making little sketches, I think, would be a good place to start. Even like I'll watch our stupid fucking corporate video every now and then. It just cracks me up. Me, you, and Mayor. Doesn't even make any fucking sense, but it's amazing.
Yeah. Do you have that on like your computer somewhere?
Yeah. I think I don't know if I actually uploaded it, but I can
I'd
upload
love
it
to
and put
watch
it on
that.
whatever. It's just fucking silly as shit, but it made so much sense. I love it. We can do stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
I think that should be part of when I get out there, or even before I get out there. Like just we've talked about it before, but constantly create content, have stuff that we can be like, this is our stuff. This is what we made. This is
Yeah.
what we do. This is who we are. Instead of
Yeah.
being like, let me talk to you about this massive movie idea that would take $100 million to make. It's like, all right, it's a cool idea, but
I know.
the steps between writing mandala and getting mandala made are about 100,000 steps.
Yeah, that's a long
Whereas if
game. That's a slow
yeah,
burn.
right,
We need to have stuff that's like before we went to film school, really. That the
exactly, back
attitude
to the root.
of just
Yeah.
like, we have the technology, we know
Mhm.
what we're doing, let's just do it. Let's not think of all the limitations. Well, we need this, we gotta,
Mm.
sometimes we might just get an idea and we'll just fucking film it. Like, well, no,
Right.
first we gotta write a script. It's like, do we for this? Sometimes we might not need to write a script for something. Sometimes we just
Right.
fucking make something.
Yeah. Agreed. And we need to have that kind of attitude, and I think we will. But like I said, I just kind of have forgotten. Like being in the Matrix in Milwaukee for so long, I've forgotten so many of these fucking things that we've already like talked about years ago, and these powers, these superpowers that I know we have, and the capabilities we have, and the technology we have. Like you have everything, camera wise, setup wise, editing, that we would ever need for microphones. Like you literally have everything we would ever need to make anything. That would just involve a couple of us. Like when we could
Yep.
easily we can easily write, shoot, and edit and score a silly fucking 2-minute movie in a day if we wanted to. So,
Yep.
and then post it online. Like literally, it's that crazy that we can do that these days. But we need to.
Like, we should have a thing where we make when we did the 24-hour film fest, we should
Yeah.
every month we should have a
Challenge
fucking,
ourselves.
yeah, this month, okay, we have to make a movie in 24 hours.
Yeah. That's just a fun idea. And then if that catches on with people, that's kind of like an exciting thing. Oh yeah, Alex and John and so made their 24-hour video should be coming up in a couple of days. Like I'm gonna keep posted on that. And then
Yes, exactly. That's a great thing that
yeah,
we
so
can do.
yeah. So yeah, I want to like spitball ideas with you at some point, but I also want to like that's something I want to do in person with you. I feel like it'd
Yeah,
be fun
of
to sit
course.
down and have some coffee and think about 25 little short scripts that we could come up with and then just do it.
Yep.
So yeah, so as you can tell, I'm just reminding myself that all these things are possible, but
No, and I'm
literally
glad because
forgotten.
reminding
I've
me too.
forgotten about all of this. It's like I'm living in like literally it felt like I can't believe I've been here for it'll be 8 years in June, or like when did I leave? May, I think, is when I left. May 2012. Wait,
Wow.
May 2013. Like, that's so crazy. And it just feels like I don't know what happened, what I've been doing, where the time went, where my mind went. Like, at least I got back into writing like 2 or 3 years ago. But before that, I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just forgetting everything I've ever learned in California, and forgetting that we had any sort of mission, and that we ever had any conversations. It's just like, fuck. So now it's
Yeah.
starting to come. It's a good feeling that it's coming back to me,
Yeah.
and that these things are real, and we didn't just make them up. Like, no, there's potential. We are doing stuff. We have a plan. There is
Yeah.
a plan.
There is a plan. Trust the plan.
Just a plan. I'm trying.
Yeah. Completely agree. And really now too, having this office, the productivity, the vibe of coming in here and just working on stuff, having a designated place for that. I've been really catching up on getting work stuff done, but I do also want to get into the habit of, like, I mean, I haven't written anything in a while. Little things like that. It's like, here's the place to do it. Like, just how you said it perfectly. Sometimes it could be a little convoluted if it's all in one place, and it's just like, oh, am I supposed to be sleeping? I could sleep, I could watch TV, I could work. I'm supposed to be working, but the TV's on over here. I'm gonna take a nap. um yeah, yeah, it's all of this stuff is, if anything, just creating more motivation and marinating the ideas that we have, and the whole thing. It's definitely a crisis, and there's a lot of uncertainty, but that's where a lot of the magic happens in that time.
Right.
So in this time.
Agreed. And like Bashar's metaphor for, the pulling the rubber band back, and the further that you pull the rubber band back, that's just more fuel in the tank, that when you let it go, it shoots that much further and faster. And I feel like that's what we've been doing, for a long time now, is just pulling it back, pulling it back, pulling it back. And then I think, hopefully this year we'll be able to start letting it go and letting things fly.
Yeah.
And who knows where it'll go from there. I think once we get going, once we get some momentum, I think it'll kind of be like the Wild West out there, but in a good way, like the new good West, where literally anything's possible, in any moment, in any day. So
Yeah.
got to keep that.
And
I got to get that
grittiness.
attitude back. Yeah.
The grittiness of California too, like we were talking about before, adds to the vibe of I mean, if you're comfortable, if you're truly like really comfortable, then there's not as much motivation to change or do anything outside the norm. But when you're a little uncomfortable, then you feel more inclined to do those things. I mean, I never lived in New York City, but from just the stories of seeing what New York was like before Rudy Giuliani and all that stuff came in and cleaned the place up. That was part of the pizzazz of living in New York City, the intrigue of living in New York City, was that it was just
Right.
like fucking grimy, and like anything could happen, and it's dangerous, and that's back again, like the old West. It's like there's anything could happen when there is that uncertainty a little bit. There's more motivation.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I've been the opposite of that. The whole time I've been in Milwaukee's, I've been comfortable. So there hasn't been a lot of, I liked my job, I liked who I worked with, lived close to my family. So there's just too much comfort in everything. That's why I didn't have any motivation to do anything, basically. But now that the comfort's gone a lot, and now, I'm living at home, that's not ideal. And it's kind of, and then, not working and kind of being, it's put me out of my comfort zone, which is a good thing at this point, for sure. So I'm excited that it's making me feel this way. And then I'm excited that, at least initially, when I move back out there, whenever that is, I'm not going to be in my comfort zone for a while. I'm probably going to be like worried about money for a while, for a couple of years at least, and kind of that'll light a fire under my ass, and being around you and closer to Mayor and Corey and Jeremy and whoever else, like other allies that will meet along the way. I need that excitement back, because Milwaukee, it promotes settling and comfort, Midwest vibes. You come here to settle down, you buy a house, you have a family, yada yada yada, you have a comfortable job for 50 years, you retire, blah 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 blah, like that kind of lifestyle. That's what it promotes, and I'm not saying anything against that. I know a lot of people here who are like on that train, and they like it, they enjoy it. Like my brother's on that train, and he'll be fine with it, and that's because that's their life. But like I'm like, this is not my life. And you can see that I can see if I stay here, I can see exactly what's going to happen. Whereas if when I move out west, you don't know what's going to happen, and that's fucking exciting. I have visions for where I'm going to go and where we're going to go and what we're going to do, but there's no guarantee in any of that, except for that you don't know what's going to happen. So I'm excited for that variable again, because I've like I said, it's calcified. That feeling, unfortunately, needs to be reawakened. And of course you're planning other ceremonies for me in that realm, which we will get into, which will help springboard, hopefully, or shake off a little bit of my dust.
Yeah.
My soul dust. But yeah, I'm excited for all that. And I think once we get through this winter here, then we can get cooking again.
Yeah, man. It's one of those moments like where the Adjustment Bureau it's like you're stuck in traffic and you're trying to get home, or you're trying to get to work, or you're trying to go somewhere, and you feel like you're late and the traffic is taking a long time. You like just wish the fuck can go. Just got to remember, you're not actually stuck in traffic randomly. It's like the Adjustment Bureau is setting up your location. So
Right.
you gotta trust it's like trust the Adjustment Bureau for a minute.
Yeah.
And all of this stuff, it's like we're just sitting here waiting in traffic right now. Kind of feels like that sometimes. But we have a destination in mind, and we just got to remember there are certain things that we can do in the meantime. It's like you can't get there at this moment, but we can tune the radio station in the car and listen to things that might give us some insight on what we can do when we get there.
Right. Some podcast.
Yeah.
Listen to our future podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Turn on the podcast of ourselves in the future. Yeah. See, that would be a video. We could just make that into a video.
Be patient. Matt Damon's taking care of it.
Yep. Matt Damon is chill. In the future, Matt Damon is the president.
Oh, he wasn't the adjuster though.
No.
He was getting adjusted, right?
He was getting adjusted. Yeah.
It was whose dad? He played
Iron Man's father.
Iron Man's dad. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the Adjustment Bureau.
And the guy with the wings, the new Avenger. What's his name?
Oh, that's right. Falcon. He was one of the Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah. Yep. He's the one who fucked up. He fell asleep.
And Emily Blunt, from what I hear, is rumored to play in Fantastic Four.
Ooh.
Her and her husband, actually. Is it Jason Krasinski? Or John Krasinski?
Oh yeah, maybe John. Yeah, I think it is John.
Yeah, but yeah, I heard they're rumored to play the Mr. Fantastic and whatever invisible lady, whatever her name is.
Did you see him when he was in that like something Ryan, that action like
Jack
series?
Ryan? Yeah.
Yeah. Was he any good in that?
Oh yeah, the first season was really good. I kind of second season's good. It was just I think I got preoccupied last year when I was watching it, never finished it. But season 1's really good. He was definitely the best Jack Ryan out of all the Jack Ryans, including Harrison Ford.
Oh, I didn't know he played the same guy.
Yeah, Jack Ryan was Harrison Ford in, I think, Patriot Games.
Oh,
and then Ben Affleck was Jack Ryan in The Sum of All Fears. Chris Pine was Jack Ryan.
Shit, I didn't
in the movie Jack Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Clancy. Yeah, it's a cool show. I recommend it. He's a good actor. Definitely.
I like him. I just it's hard for me to get past because I'm a Office hater, The Office hater.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
hard for
I've
me.
tried getting into it a few times, just can't. I
Yeah,
don't know. I think it missed out on that one. It's just
I think I like it. I really like being in the minority about that. So I'm gonna
yeah,
forever be an outward hater about it,
yeah,
even though I've seen like a total of maybe 2 or 3 hours,
yeah,
but it was enough. Fuck that show.
yeah.
I'd get a lot of clicks. Fuck the Office podcast. People would tune in just to get mad. Fuck the Office,
Yeah, fuck The Office, dude.
but not your Office. Do you
No,
have a name
my
for it?
office. Yeah, I love My
Called
Office.
the Office.
Yeah, I don't know. I was calling it Lippy Lab, maybe. I don't know. I don't really have a
Oh,
name
okay.
for
Playing
the.
around a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Still trying to figure it out.
I'm sure it'll come to you. So,
Yeah,
quick question, Alex. So this flag behind me, I think it's the Betsy Ross flag,
yeah.
the 13 colonies flag. Do you know of any like negative connotation with it, like racist or like Proud Boys or anything like that?
No,
Have you,
no. The only flag that I know could have a weird connotation to it is the "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
right, right, and obviously the Confederate
Yeah,
flag,
and
but
obviously the Confederate flag and the Proud Boys have their own flag. But the "Don't Tread on Me" one, even still, it's like depends on who's waving it, you know.
yeah,
But
I mean
that
that's
that
how the credits of John Adams, right? Is like the
yeah,
flag,
yeah,
that literally that flag.
yeah. It's it depends on who's waving it. No, not with that flag. That flag to me, I always like because that's the 13 original colonies, right, or something like that.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
I had a recent issue with somebody who now thinks I'm pretty sure thinks I'm a racist, because there was a picture of me with that in the background. So I had no idea that there was.
Someone thought. Wait a minute. Hold on one second, bro.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so I had no idea that fucking flag. Jeremy Seward stole it for us.
Yeah. All good. Yeah, dude. What were we saying?
Yeah, cool. All right.
Oh yeah, the flag. Yeah.
This person thinks I'm a racist now, and I didn't know that there were any bad connotations with it. So if
Yeah.
anybody's watching and seeing that in the background, the only affiliation I have is that it's the 13 colonies flag. That's all I know about it.
It's the original American
So
flag. It's not a Confederate flag. I mean, I guess these days anything could be considered a racist. I mean, an American flag in itself is like is a very divisive symbol. So it's like if you're waving an American
right,
flag, you
yeah,
could be like, freaking rah rah USA USA, or not. Like, it's like I had that American flag with even uh I forgot the name of it. It's a store rider, but a Native American on a horse, where the stars are, or no, across the whole thing. And I had that up when I was doing the podcast or the webinars with my uncle. My uncle demanded that I take it down because he's like, I don't like that American flag. It's like some people just can't stand the American
yeah,
flag either way. So I always
yeah.
saw that one as like that's just the OG American flag, like that one.
That's what I felt too. But whatever.
Yeah,
We'll have to be conscious about that going forward once our fan base grows.
yeah, yeah. We should have our own flag with a
Yeah, I like
spoon
that.
on it.
Ooh, spoon flag.
Spoon flag.
All hail the spoon. There is no spoon.
Yeah, there is no spoon. You see our flag?
Glory be to the spoon.
There's no spoon.
There's no flag. What
There's
what
no
flag?
flag, no spoon. But there is. If you just see it, if you just believe, you will see it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Cool, man. Anything else you want to chat about?
Um, Yeah, off the top of my head, I guess not. I mean, we're kind of in the grips of a new phase, a new wave of things to go down here. I'm happy to see the QAnon world start to fizzle away, which is nice, and
Hmm.
um, just yeah, doing a webinar again on Uncle Bruce on Saturday. I don't know,
Nice.
man. Yeah, it's just yeah, that's basically it,
Great.
dude.
Great.
Yeah, we got
Excellent.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got I got nothing else here too. So just except the Packers play on Sunday,
Okay.
and if they win, they go to the Super Bowl. So that's a
Which
pretty big deal going on
yeah,
here.
my sister's probably very happy right this moment.
Yeah, they got to play the old Tom Brady.
Oh,
The he's not on the Patriots anymore, but he still represents
Trump.
you know Trump and the old world,
Yeah.
the old legacy. So hopefully the Green Bay Packers could take down Aaron Rodgers can take down good old good boy.
When was the last time the Packers were in the Super Bowl?
They won the Super Bowl in 2010, 2011.
Okay.
So not too long ago, but
Mm-hmm.
and then last year I think they were one game away from it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Cool. Exciting.
yeah, man. Yeah. So that's what's happening in Milwaukee. My buddy, Jim, he already bought tickets to fly home to Milwaukee for the Super Bowl.
Oh wow.
Even though
Okay.
we're not in the Super Bowl yet officially. So he's pretty certain.
All right. All right. That's good.
So that's going to be what's happening in Wisconsin for the next, hopefully at least 3 weeks.
Yeah,
So
that's a big deal.
that's my life. And then, yeah, my plan, I am finishing up my like outlining for my current script and I'm going to start writing in February. So I'm excited about that. I'll probably run that by you at some point. Um,
Yeah.
just to just get a perspective on it. And then I think I'm going to send it to that same guy who I sent Mandala to last time,
Oh yeah, that was good.
his perspective. So,
We should
yep.
contact the Screen Rants guy too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great, man.
Cool. Yeah,
Sweet.
super dupe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good talking to you, man. I'm glad the internet didn't as it starts freezing right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad the internet was a little bit better behaved, but hopefully I still have that the link you sent me, so I need to get that
Yeah.
internet better. So
Yeah.
hopefully we won't have any more issues with that.
Tesseract. The Infinity
Yeah, the Tesseract.
extenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And yeah, let's stay in touch here as the days go on. I'm maybe after David does a next podcast live stream, which I'm sure he's trying to. I'm really curious to see what the hell he's gonna say now.
Yeah.
We'll have to stay on abreast of the situation with those people.
Definitely. Yeah. That's definitely what I'm keeping my eye on now is where that all goes. So we'll
Yeah.
see. And who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows?
Yeah. God bless.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, love to your fam and your
Yeah.
pups and
Same to you. Same to you and yours. And always a pleasure hanging and talking, discussing the news of the world with you.
the world. By the way, I saw that movie. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was not that bad. I think it was Tom Hanks's way of showing everybody that he doesn't abuse children. He protects the kids from the other ones
There you
trying
go.
to abuse them.
There you go.
It was good.
Savior.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see more Tom Hanks movies.
Oh, you will.
Oh, you will. Tom Hanks. Oh yeah, and that's funny too that Tom Hanks hosted the after party for the
Oh, did he?
yeah, for the
Good for him.
inauguration. So very good. Well, yeah, man. Let's stay connected here, and I'll upload this podcast probably tomorrow when I get to work.
Cool pulls, man. Good talking to you. Good seeing you.
Good to see you too, my friend.
Love you.
Love
We'll
you too.
talk soonish.
All right. Talk to you later, brother. Peace.
Peace up.